overwhelming them. Naturally, we teach the steps development, not overcomplicating it, and how some other practical things to get people started.
Okay. Wow. Well, I took notes because I can be long-winded. So, first of all, if you have at least iPhones, I don't know anything about Droids and that kind of thing, but I put together 4 little homework assignments in my notes. So like when I first signed a new distributor, and I'll just give you a little bit of like what it says, and I kind of am playful with it, but it also helps me know what kind of potential distributor this could be. You know, I wasn't the one signing distributors out of the gate, but I certainly was the one that whatever they told me to do, I was doing it. And so that will send a good message to you too, especially as your team starts to get larger and you don't know, you know, where to spend all your time. You'll see the people that aren't going to waste your time, if that makes sense. All right, hold on. I thought it was all organized. I have a first assignment, a second assignment, and a third assignment, but where did I put that? There. Okay, I have the second assignment. So, you know, maybe step 1 is get on your e-suite training. That's always my first one, because even though we know that always needs improvement, and they will be working on it, at the end of the day, the things they're going to get on there are some of the most basic things that people need to know when they start this business. And I honestly didn't have time, and those of you getting involved in this business with a full-time job, you don't have time to babysit and handhold. You don't. That's not why you're in this business. So, you know, the first one is like get on your e-suite and start your training. Go to my at work store and at least get a t-shirt, and we'll talk about some of the other things. Don't buy more than you can afford to spend right now. When people tell me this business has broke the bank, I think, what did you buy? It's $99, and at most a $25 t-shirt, you know? So I get them on the store right away and get them a shirt, because I know even if they're scared to death to talk to people, if they're wearing their shirt, they're gonna have people asking them, because now there's enough brand awareness that they'll go, oh my gosh, I see that on my Facebook feed all the time. You do that? I never knew anybody that did that, you know? So it really is a great marketing tool. But so then at the end of it, I might say, okay, once you've completed these things, make sure you let me know right away, and we'll get you started on a few others. You know, or I'll tell them that, you know, once you finish the first 2 steps, I'll add you to my team Facebook page, you know. Definitely getting the party on the calendar is a big one for me. And so what about those people that don't live nearby and you can't launch them? Because I launch all my new distributors still to this day. If they're not in my backyard, we either do a Zoom where they invite people over and I Zoom in. I might travel there. But the biggest thing I do for people that live far away is I say, okay, we're going to schedule a practice party. So I take them back in their e-suite, they print off their party pad notes. I literally just have them either write verbatim the notes in their book, or I have them copy paste the notes in the book, because I want them to read from the notes. And as they get more comfortable to add their personality to it, that's great, but this is duplication, folks. Duplication is not when we think we can put together a better presentation. That's not duplication. That means my business can't grow if I'm not in the room. So some of the best compliments I've ever had is, you make 6 figures a month and you're reading from the book. I think I can do this too. I still read from the book, or at least make it look like I'm reading from the book, you know? So I show them how to print that off. I tell them just to literally, you know, if they got the mini booster, you can sample the greens, you can do the Fat Fighter demo, you can wrap them and sit around your kitchen table. Tell them you're practicing. Ask them if they'll come and practice with you. Have 2 practice parties for people that are just a little overwhelmed. And it doesn't take long for them to get that positive response where they're doing more. So parties are big. Doing their e-suite training, getting some stuff from the store, and I just spoon feed them a little bit at a time. Tell me when you're done with that, I'll give you a few more things. You know, I think we can overwhelm them very easily if we try to give them that all at once. Another thing that I'm huge on, so the party, but now working the hundreds list. So we sit down, like I signed 5 in the last 2 weeks. That is so overwhelming for me. I like almost want to crawl in the closet and hide, you know? So last night I did a Zoom with all 5 of them, and I told them they had to have 30 names on a list to get on the Zoom. And I told them be prepared to start messaging those people on that list. And then we walked through making sure they had their party, and just talking and getting to know them a little more and easing any little concerns that they have. But We took that list and I literally said, send this message to every single person on that list. Every single person, Facebook or text. I'm so excited. I just started a brand new business. Have you ever heard of the It Works Wrap? Or have you ever tried the It Works Wrap? But just very simple, that's it. And when they respond, tell me and I will tell you what to say next. And if you know the person well, like one of the girls I just signed up yesterday, I said, message your 30 people and then give me your Facebook login and I will message back and forth with them for you. So, because they don't know and they usually say too much, but I think doing that with that person is really helpful because they hear what you say. If, someone comes back and goes, no, I haven't, and I don't know who this person is, I'm going to be, you still want to make sure you're not just saying, well, let me tell you about it, and it's their best friend from high school, and you forget to say, how's life, by the way. So it's nice to kind of interact, okay, how do you know these people, or how long has it been since you've seen them, and just helping them formulate, and it doesn't take long for them to get it. So parties and messaging people, I think, are the two strongest things I can handhold my new team with in the very beginning.
Awesome. Okay. We know your story, that it took 6 months before you found your rock star, Debbie Sassett. How long did it take you to have your 5 solid legs in place that took you to ambassador?
Okay, so it's interesting. It actually took me 6 months to find a distributor, not just a rock star, but one distributor. Like, I didn't have anybody on my team until I signed Debbie. And it's funny because Debbie actually met my parents up at like a little lake house in Ludington, and they were reading and met by the pool. Well, basically from the minute they got back home, Debbie was just blowing my dad's phone up like, I want to rap. And he's like, I'm not going to rap you, And she's like, well, I want to rap, and how do I get a rap? And so finally he's like, this lady will not stop calling me. We met her on vacation last week. Will you call her? And so she came in, we met, put the rap on her. She was killing it in real estate, had no desire to do the business, but she had sisters. So she's like, I might as well do the business and just kind of see what happens. Thank goodness she did, because the economy crashed and her real estate business was not so good anymore. And Debbie was my first rock star and my very first distributor. So I was fortunate about that. My second distributor was from my Bible study. Nathan and I attended a couples group, Sunday school class, never went back. One time went from that group, joined a couples group where we met Denise and Brandon Walsh, Chris and Carla Burns, and those were the next 2 people on my team. So it's funny, my rock stars were like 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one was, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank and they're gonna kill me for whoever it is. Dave and Debbie, Chris and Carla, Denise and Brandon. Can I remember who's on my front line?
And you two can go and black
Oh, it's really going to be bad when I can't remember who it is. I should look on my favorites on my phone. Because my brother actually didn't join my organization so I technically had my college girlfriend in, and she was my 5th and final life that I just knew was going to take me to ambassador. And she's not here anymore, and it's because she got really, really sick. And life does happen, and I wish she wouldn't have put her business down, but I had, you can put your spouse in. I'd had that position in, just wasn't building it. And all of a sudden, started building that. It was my brother, Shelly Hyde. And again, I really cannot remember who that 4th person is. I just could kill myself right now for that. I'm going to look in my favorites, because it's not my brother, it's not Shelly Hyde. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. But I was very lucky, like it was just a couple from my small group. And here's the deal, you guys, we weren't all overnight rock stars. It was quite ugly, actually, and Denise didn't even join the business. It was Brandon, and he just wanted to do it all online. He doesn't talk to anybody. If you know Brandon, he doesn't talk to anybody. And then one day he called me up and said, I've been doing something online. I think you might be mad at me. And I said, well, why would I be mad at you? And he's like, because I have over 200 people that have been interested in the business for weeks. And I was like, excuse me, what? I mean, we were signing 1 distributor a year if we were lucky. That kind of pace we were moving at. So, as long as you don't quit, I can promise you that, as long as you don't quit, you show up to events, and you keep growing your mind, you will be a massive success with this business. If it wasn't for the personal development, getting to every event that there was, and there wasn't many, and just not quitting, that's why we're successful. You know, Carla Burns, I did a party with her. Can you do a party with me? Sure, I'd love to. And the same 6 people would be there. The same 6 people who didn't buy a darn thing. The same 6 people who like rolled their eyes at us the whole time. And I was just like, I cannot believe we keep doing this. But then all of a sudden we opened in Canada, and she's from Canada, and her business goes gangbusters. She was making more money than me for a year under me because her business blew up in Canada. So pretty incredible.
Okay, what do you say to your team when they have taken quitting off the table? So they're not going to quit, but nothing they do seems to be working and they're frustrated.
Oh, you know, probably share a story of somebody that's had that experience. You know, I just signed a distributor for 6 months. I'm so glad I didn't quit, that kind of thing. Whether you grow really, really fast right out of the gate, or whether you grow over time, you're going to hit lulls in your business. I love when Tina and Baba said, a lot of life has happened in 8 years. Well, there's a lot of people that would say, well, you poor thing, a lot of life has happened in 8 years and you're still an ambassador, you know? And life is going to happen whether you're in this business or not. I would rather have life happening to me in this business. And Zig Ziglar says he's had a lot of life happen with money and a lot of life happen without money, and he'd rather do it with money. So, you know, and I can promise you, when I've have had some of the most difficult seasons I've gone through, thank goodness that I have a residual income that keeps coming in every month so that I can focus on what I have to focus on. I don't have to worry about that job. And that's not the reality. You lose somebody, you go through a divorce, your kid is sick for a long, long time, maybe they're going through something, you still gotta go to work or those bills are not gonna get paid. And you know, when I was 16 years old, I got in a car accident, and I was in the hospital I was in like the traumatic part for 7 days, inpatient for 9 days, outpatient for 3 months. My mom and dad never left my hospital bed, and it was all because of their residual income business that they own. And had they been relying on my dad's teaching income, they would never have been able to be there. My mom would have been doing daycare, my dad would have been teaching, and they would have been trusting the nurses were taking care of me, you know? So this business and the residual income is a beautiful thing. So back to your question, I got a little sidetracked. Remind me again what you said?
What do you say to your team when they cannot quit? They're not going to quit, but they're frustrated.
So the biggest thing when you're frustrated, number one, restart your business. Pretend like it's day one again. Have a launch party. Let's bring out your hundreds list. Let's add 50 new names to it. Easily you can do that if you start really digging deep. You know, when you think about, okay, what was my first job? Okay, who did I know at that first job? Who did I meet from that job? Because I was a waitress. So, you know, lots of families and couples, and you know, I worked there for so long. And so, but dig deep. It's not just like who did you work with, but who did you meet because you worked with that person? Who did you hang out with in that period of your life? You know, who were their friends, and really start adding names. So go back to adding more names to that list. That's the lifeline of your business. And the other thing I would say is you're probably not going to enough events, and your personal development is lagging. I had a girl messaging me just today, and she's an emerald making executive income, and she's frustrated. She's super red, and she's frustrated. And I said, well, you're your own worst enemy, and I would never join your team because I can feel your negativity all over you. And what book are you reading right now? She said, well, I was reading Success Principles by Jack Canfield. I said, what do you mean was? Because you right now are so negative and in a rut, and that's because you was reading. Get that book back up, and if you don't want to read that book, I'll give you a couple ideas of what book to read.
Okay. How do you take a person from being very interested to actually signing up? Both for loyal customers and for distributors. How do you close the deal?
Okay, so, well, first of all, I'm very consistent. And, you know, I use social media. I like and comment on their stuff. I invite them to virtual Facebook parties on a regular basis, or personal Facebook, or personal parties if they're in town. So consistency. I think you would be surprised to know how much more I am just a friend and fun versus recruiting. You know, I really believe people want more fun and friendship in their life than being sold on something. So that's probably a big thing. But then, you know, how do you seal the deal? My most favorite script to send to somebody, someone that's absolutely started ignoring me. Like literally will not respond to a message. I've even done the, are you okay? Are you in the hospital? Have your fingers fallen off? You know, I've done those things for sure. But my favorite one, it works every time, hands down, works every time. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, leave me alone, I'm just not interested. 10 being, I'm in, where do I sign? Where are you? And I say it just like that. I don't sugarcoat it. Like 1, like you just don't think you want to do it. No. 1, I'm out, stop calling me. 10, I'm in, where do I sign? Almost every single time. And even somebody like, Brooke, if I message you and you say to me, I'm just not interested anymore, I send you on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I'm not interested, leave me alone, 10 being I'm in, where do I sign? I still send that to the person who said no. And chances are she'll say I'm an 8, I just don't have the money. I'm a 9, but I'm scared to death. I'm a 9, but my husband's going to kill me. I'm a 7, but I'm just so nervous. I've never done anything like this before. If you don't ask, you don't know. And a lot of times we don't know, we make assumptions it's us, so they're not interested anymore. One of my triple diamonds just said to me, I had a girl that was supposed to sign today and she's gone cold on me. And I said, what was the very last thing you said? And it was, give me your social security number and I'll put you in the computer. And she hasn't contacted her since. She said that. She said, okay, I gotta go transfer I gotta go transfer money and then I will get back with you. Okay, how many of you think it's about the social security number?
Yes.
No. She don't have the money. She don't have the money. She said, I'm going to go transfer money and then I will call you. Do you think when you don't have the money, you can't wait to call someone and say, I don't have $100? Do you think Alicia, when she was checking her doorbell light being on, was excited to say to someone, I didn't pay my electric bill so I could sign up? No, so that's the embarrassment. Now I will say to you, most of us, and I'm saying most of us, are signing people up through text and whatever, but just say, I'll call you now for your social security number to give them a little more security. I think 1% it could have been that. I think 99% it was, shouldn't have the money to transfer. You know, so when you ask scale 1 to 10, it might be the money, it might be I'm scared, it might be I'm worried, I don't, you know, but that will give you an indication. And then, so here's something I learned not too long ago. I really struggle personally with signing loyal customers. And I'm kind of okay with that. I'd like to sign team members all day long. But at the end of the day, you know not all of them are ready to do the business right now. So I had a talk with another ambassador and I just said, I struggle. If I'm being honest, I struggle with getting customers. I don't do a lot of internet, I just don't have a lot of internet traffic, if you will. And so she said, well, that's because when they're not ready to do the business yet, just flip and say, okay, well, you know what, let's go ahead and get you on the products and get your story started so that when you are ready to do the business, you'll have a testimony. Oh my gosh, I signed 7 loyal customers this month. I barely signed 1 on a regular basis, and I signed 7 this month. Now I want them all to be business builders, but I signed 7. So those are a couple strategies, very individualized.
That's good. Are y'all getting something out of this? Yeah. Isn't it awesome? Okay, how do you train new team members on what their daily routine should look like so that they can be successful quickly?
So this one is really easy for me. And that's, I live the business out in front of them. So, we do team rep parties each week. I'm at those rep parties. I personally have guests at those rep parties. I'm messaging people every day. So I might put in my personally enrolled thread or my team page, hey, I sent this message out to 3 people today. All they gotta do is copy paste it and message it to people. I'm showing myself out working hundreds lists with my team. I'm showing myself out blitzing or doing networking events. When I go to networking events, I invite no less than 2 people with me every time I go do anything for the business. If I'm launching a new distributor, I will invite my new team members. I get them in another party. It doesn't mean it benefits them. It benefits them because they're learning and they're growing and they're getting around it and they're getting to ride in a car with me there and back. So I think the best way to teach them a routine is I'm vocal about my own. I'm intentional with living my business out loud and sharing what my business day-to-day activities look like. And the 6 list is probably my biggest thing that I teach, where I say, you're not going to wake up in the morning and think, how do I build my business? Once you've been in for a while, you naturally wake up and you're implementing it into every part of your day. But until that happens, I use a daily 6 list to keep myself intentionally building every day, because chances are they have a job, so they already have a routine, or they've got several kids, so they've got things pulling them in a million different directions, and it's just not their priority yet. A 6 list will train them to prioritize their business. Yes, a 6 list is every night before you go to bed, you write down 6 things you're going to do for your business tomorrow. Now, some of you may have to do a 6 list for your week, a week in advance, especially if, for instance, one of my 6 list items might be posting something that I enjoy, a luxury, because of my business 3 times this week. So I might pre-post those, preset those up if you can't be in front of your computer at that time that you want to do that. And for those of you with jobs, you're going to have to, if you don't tell your time where to go, it's going to go somewhere. So you've got to really make sure you are intentional with doing that. Now, what if you don't complete all 6 things? Well, then they scoot to the next day and you go, okay, so tomorrow I have 8 things. Some of you might need to start with a 2 list or a 4 list, but it's better than a 0 list, or just waking up and living your business by chance. This business doesn't build by chance, it builds by choice.
Good. Okay, how do you book parties and get them to follow through without canceling?
Okay, I did take some notes because I'm like, gosh, some of these spur of the moment. So I definitely still have done host parties. They're going to do the party and then they totally back out on me. And typically that's because I did a poor job of helping them invite, or we booked it too far out. Gone are the days where you give people 2 weeks notice. If I give you 2 weeks notice and you tell me yes, chances are by the time it comes, something might have come up that you would rather do. So I'm really a big fan of no more than a week out. No more than a week out for scheduling that party. And if they can't schedule it within the next week, I just stay really close and connected until they can. Or I might try to get them to do a virtual Facebook party, and give them some perks for doing that. Now, I will tell you, I work very hard to make any and every host of any party a distributor, if they're not already one. Now, if they're already a distributor, they're probably not going to cancel, but that makes me have to do a very good job of coaching them on how to invite. And so what does that look like? Well, we might put a little sticker on the Blitz card that they can hand out to people at church or that they see throughout the week. We set up an event on Facebook also. If you're only setting up an event on Facebook to host, that's your number one problem. And then I'm giving a little verbiage to text or message people like, hey, can you come on over Wednesday? And again, you might need 72 hours to plan a party. If you plan too much further than that, people don't know what they're going to do, and they don't want to know what they're going to do. If they have a night off, they're going to wait for the best offer to come. So it's better to do, shorter, periods. Now, if you're launching, I'd say pick 2 nights. So, and don't tell them, I have 2 nights, you can pick this. No, because then they'll say, I can't do either. Where if I say, Brooke, I'm having a party on Wednesday, can you come? No, well, what about Thursday? Well, yeah, I can do Thursday because I'm having another one on Thursday, so why don't you come on Thursday? So, listen, your house is clean. Chances are your cheese tray is still going to have half of it left. You just move it around and make it look brand new and fresh, But then don't overcomplicate it either. That's the other thing. If you're putting on a spread, nobody's going to actually want to host a party, okay? Just do water, and if you do bring something, you bring it. You bring it for them. But really, water's fine, and if they want to drink wine or whatever, let them. It's not going to make or break the deal when they have their results. True story, probably 3rd party I ever did. They're all a little bit larger women anyway, and I get there, and we're doing a party over spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, and I'm like this. We're all gonna blow because when we used to measure, we had bloaters, and I'm like, okay, bloaters are gloaters. I'm really trying to prep myself for the awful results we're gonna have. We're drinking soda, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm setting myself up for anyways. Probably some of the best results I ever had at a rent party. So you just never know. So don't get too fired up about eating clean and whatever. I mean, obviously, like I said, the more right decisions we make, the better the results are going to be, and the faster they're going to be there, and the longer they're going to stay. But at the end of the day, people still want to live. That's why they like this crazy rap thing, because they don't feel like they have to sell their soul to get in shape, And so, anyways,
That was good. All right, here's one. If you look at most of the top level successful people in this business, many of them have some personality color combination that includes either strong red or blue. How do you coach or mentor or lead someone who is predominantly strong green and or yellow in their personality colors and are trying to make this work but not having much success?
So you asked everybody to get you questions, correct? Okay, so first of all, whoever asked this question, I want you to know that's wrong. It's just false. Okay? You may think or believe, and what you believe is your reality, that they're all red. Just about the time I get a red that might spring out of the gate really fired up, they're also the first one to quit because they get so fired up and hot all the time. You know, you got to walk them off the ledge. The blue, talk them off, walk them off. That's called a Markism. So, talk them off, walk them off. I guess I don't want to walk them off the ledge. That's not, we're not walking anybody off the ledge. We're talking them off the ledge. Sometimes reds, you do want to push them off the ledge. Blues, you know, life happens. All of a sudden they're not having fun. They want to walk away. I love yellows because they're so loyal. Even when they're not where they want to be yet, they're never going to quit. Greens, I mean, I would say, well, so here's the deal. Here's what I think. The people making in the top, I think they're high functioning rainbow, you know, or maybe their predominant is red, but they're high functioning red, which means they're all of them. So, you know, I want the greens because I don't have even an ounce of green in me. Like, I think if you take the quiz and there's 90 points, I don't even have half of a point green. So I need greens on my team so that people actually know what's in the product or how it works, you know. So we really need all the colors, and there are all the colors. And I could tell you, if we took the top 20, they're all every color of the rainbow predominantly, but they're just high functioning. So number one, stop speaking that, especially if you are yellow and green. You're honestly just making an excuse for why you're not where you want to be yet. So it's easier to make excuses than it is to make plans and to work your business. And at the end of the day, I totally believe you should operate out of your strength. So don't try to change yourself if you're red. Don't try to change yourself if you're blue, yellow, green. But certainly try to grow in other areas, but work out of your strength all day long. That's the way God made you on purpose. He didn't make you that way by accident. And you can be a massive success no matter what your predominant color is, as long as you're open to growing along the way, but still operate out of your strength.
Okay, one more question. What advice would you give a distributor who has reached a lot of goals and promotions in the company and is having a hard time redreaming and dreaming bigger?
Well, there's actually one more question that you forgot to ask, and I want to make sure we talk about that. It's the social media one, so we'll do that one too. But no, because I love this question because I just love that question. But okay, so redreaming, it is hard to redream. I'll never forget when we got to $30,000 a month, and I felt guilty for wanting $67,000 a month. And for those of you that know me, the only reason I wanted $67,000 a month is because that's the best money my dad ever made in his first business, and I wanted to, number one, I wanted to beat him. Just because I wanted to be able to say, I made more money than you. But number two, I wanted to beat him because it was his company, and I believed it was a better company, and making more than that a month would prove to me that it was, right? So that, but there's a lot of worth type stuff wrapped up into that. I really believe that. So I say stay in the Word. Whether you're not making any money yet or you're making a lot of money yet, the enemy is going to attack your identity. He is going to attack your worth, and he's going to attack you from every angle he can. He's going to keep looking for ways to attack you. If one way isn't working, he'll try another way. He'll try another person. He'll try another thing. So stay in the Word, first of all. Stay in your personal development. And you know what? God needs people in the mission field that make money too. He doesn't just need a bunch of broke missionaries. He needs people with money. And when good people make money, we do good things with it. You know, so like when I hear Chad Kneller saying, now they're not just making six figures, they're giving six figures every year. That's the kind of people God wants to put money in their hands. So, you know, I think in the beginning our dream boards are full of things because, you know, paying off debt is a big deal. Buying a house, a new house, a bigger house is a good deal, and that's great. Getting a car, paying cash for it, building a pool, that's great. But then all of a sudden, it gets to a point where, you know, yeah, we can put more stuff on there, but that's not motivating. So start thinking outside of yourself. Like, you know, I remember when I wanted the pool, because I wanted a pool, but I wanted an extravagant pool because I was thankful early on in my business, I had people that had some of that stuff that I never felt like I was worthy of having, but going and hanging out at their house went, this feels good, and I do deserve this, and you know, this is possible, and I am worth it. And so for me, the dream board stuff, I really started to have breakthrough when my dream board stuff allowed me to teach other people how to dream. It allowed me, you know, we adopted a care point in Africa. We have 2 care points in Africa painted black and green, by the way. And they feed over 200 children every day. They support and educate those people. You know, we were helping our church support their care point through our 121 missions and the women that make the crafts. And one day I said to the woman, we want to do a mission trip to see what we're supporting all the time. And I said, and I shouldn't have said it because the minute it came out of my mouth, I realized it wasn't me. It was probably the Holy Spirit weighing that on my heart. I was like, maybe we should adopt our own care points. Well, do you know what? A week later, they called me back. A businessman had stopped supporting 2 care points. So there was no one covering the cost. And they called us up and said, will you? And we said, we will, we can, and we want to. And now we're supporting our own care points and building playgrounds for the kids and giving them school fees to be able to go to school instead of getting in trouble and getting AIDS and being homeless and fatherless. And you know, there's just so many good things that are happening, but that's the kind of dreaming that you'll start doing. And yes, you're worth it, and yes, you can have it. So I think it's just like, you know, I want an orphanage, like a Make a Dream orphanage, where kids that are without parents actually still feel like their Heavenly Father loves them and is looking out for them because they're doing all these amazing things. That's the kind of dreams you get to do. Absurd, outlandish, fun, life-changing, game-changing. Those are the world-changing things that make a difference in this world. So it starts with your own personal things, but until you get those, you can't dream bigger and think outside of that box.
So awesome. I'm sorry I missed this other question because that would have been a perfect thing to end on, right? Okay, so last question. Do you use social media at all? And if so, what platform do you use and how do you do it?
Okay, so this was my favorite question of all that you sent because I beat myself up on a regular basis because I am not an Instagram crazy person. I remember calling Jerry and being like, how do you do that on Facebook? And feeling like a bad leader. And because I didn't build that way. But here's the deal, I do use social media every day, and it has become a huge source of great things happening in my business. I just don't do it in the way that you might think that I do it. So I am a huge belly-to-belly business builder. Even the times I have gotten some success online, it doesn't feed my soul like face-to-face does. I love getting in front of the people. I love hearing your stories. I love hugging and taking pictures and high-fiving and being silly and having slumber parties. And, you know, that's what makes me tick. But social media has made it easier to build belly-to-belly. So I'm out every day meeting people, handing out Blitz cards where they see my shirt. And I honestly don't hand out Blitz cards anymore. I'm like, let me text you a coupon, or are you on Facebook? And we become Facebook friends. I add them to a list on Facebook that I call my people so that I can be liking and commenting on their stuff regularly, being invested in their life and pouring into them through the social media, following up with them, getting them on my Facebook events. I was awful at blitzing in person until social media helped me out because sometimes I could not figure out a way to say, have you heard that crazy rap thing? So I wouldn't say anything. Now I'm just like being a friend with it. I'm like, oh, are you on Facebook? And yes, I never say one thing about my business, not one thing. But after we become friends on Facebook, now I start dripping on them about the business. Obviously, they're going to see my awesome lifestyle that I live, and they may ask me what I do in this business, and it's all because of social media. I do a virtual party on Facebook 2 times a week. My entire team plugs into it. It's very personalized. We don't let them spam their whole list. We say you get 10 invites, so you better make it personal, because who has time to follow up with more than 10 people at a time, right? We want to make sure they're doing the follow-up. So, you know, my posts are all about friendships, fun, and freedom. They're not just like, hey, will you join my team? Oh, look at this Greens advertisement, you know. But so I'm out in person, making contacts, meeting people, growing my network that way, and then I fall back and do my follow-up and hundreds list work and parties and stuff through social media as well. And I love doing it in person, but I love meeting someone on the airplane. We become Facebook friends, and even though we live on opposite ends of the world, we can still connect through this crazy rap thing. So I think social media is a beautiful thing, and I love using it to build relationships.
Wow, did you guys get some really good value? Isn't that amazing? Woo, Tammy, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. I feel so privileged to just spend some time with you. I'm excited because we're going to go have a slumber party at my house. Just her and Alicia. But, you know, thank you. Just thank you. Oh, Brooke said, what about me? That's coming. Okay, Blair wants to throw 2 cents and then we're going to do the drawing.
Huge aha in the back of the room, you know, just listening to Cammie talk. You know, so many of us, whatever, you know, we think, man, they sure were lucky. Melody and Cammie, boy, they sure were lucky. They signed up, nobody ever quit. They all went diamond, you know what I mean? But she was very candid, right? Very transparent, very candid about just sticking with it, just sticking with it, just sticking with it, and not giving up. There were times when all of us like throw our hands up, like, man, what are we doing wrong? But just stick with it. Just stick with it. You'll get better. You'll get better over time. You look at a lawyer, you look at a doctor, all the years and years and years they spent in school just to get that education, then to go out there in the real world and start to put it into practice before they ever even really start even making any money. Whereas here you get to earn as you learn. But you got to keep learning. And Cammie hit it big time too on feeding your mind. You've got to win that battle for your thoughts, gang. You're the only one that can win that battle. We can't win it for you. Sometimes I wish we could, right? You get it, boom, no. You got to, though. She's been all the way around now. You got to, though. You have got to. You have got to control your thoughts. That's your attitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. You know, you can't afford to get down. I hope I can just say that like that. You cannot afford right now at this point in time to get down. Not for one day. Sometimes we all have challenges. We have learned to get over it quickly and keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. You have got to win that battle. I hope that makes sense. Because you're the only one that can do it. You're the only one that can do it. Ask the big guy for help. We're in church, right? Ask the big guy for help. He knows your heart. He knows your situation. He knows you better than you know yourself. Just say, Lord, I need help. Help me. That's a prayer. It doesn't have to be all fancy. You know? I need help to control my negative attitudes or whatever. You know, these people that I'm allowing them to drag me down. You know, you can't let anybody drag you down. Why are you doing that? Walk into this. Boom, 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 you know. Don't allow other people to steal your joy, man. They need it. They need your joy. The world needs your joy. You know, when we were kids, I'm a carpenter way back in the day, just swinging a hammer, and all I could dream for was $75,000 a year in the mid-1990s. That was as big as I could dream. I wrote it on my bathroom mirror in big letters, right across my bathroom mirror. I'd have to see that every day. I had no idea how we were going to do that. I thought we were going to do it in the big A company or whatever. But that's as big as I could dream. You know, and broke people can't help each other. There's a world in need out there with a lot of people that just haven't ever had the opportunity or they thought it was going to come easy and weren't willing to work for it. But it's a big, huge world out there that's in need. The world needs you. The world needs you to be a blessing to others because out of your abundance can you give. I never got a job from a broke person in construction. Never. I always hoped that they owned like Capital Chevrolet or Jim Reed Chevrolet or something like that where they're going to build a big home, pay a lot of money where I can pay all my guys and me. Does that make sense? Your job, your mission, your career, and it works is to become a multi-millionaire with this company. I can't They're not on back order. You got to reach for it. You got to grab it. You got to run for this with everything you've got, because it's just so worth it. It's just so worth it. Whatever you got to go through. And you're going to go through some stuff. So what? Are you going through some stuff now at work, on your job? I guarantee you are. I've been there. I've done that. I was the boss and I was going through some stuff. Just the payoff is much better here. Owning your, controlling your life. Being able to be a blessing to others. We never in our wildest imagination would have thought we'd become in a relationship with somebody on the other side of the planet. You know, it's so full of joy. In the school, they've just got a tin roof, no walls, and dirt floor. You know, they were showing pictures of those kids' feet. They walk. They have to. We're like, wow. The world needs you to step up. The world needs you to step up and be brave enough to step up and go, man, I don't know what this next step's going to lead to, but I'm going to take it. Step. Does that make sense? You pick up that challenge, or you run through that gauntlet of fire, because that's going to be some fire, isn't it? That's what you got to decide. I know this is some heavy-duty stuff right here. We'll let the other guests go earlier, whatever they want to do. Pouring yourself into other people. I've said it, and I keep saying, how many people can you fit in your heart? How many? We're still trying to fit them in. All we can. How many do you want to fit in your heart? How many people do you want to come up to you with tears in their eyes and go, man, just because something you said just changed my whole life? You'd be like, me? Yeah, you. That's the true reward. You know, because when we're all done, when it's all said and done, and I get to meet the man in person and his son Jesus, and I'm meeting them face to face, and they put that crown on my head, I hope they hear those words, well done, my good and faithful servant. You know? That's the country that we all deserve. We have to go for it, work for it. Anyway, with that.
Are you bringing him to Michigan with you?
I wasn't going to, but I could.
It might be a package deal now.
I don't think he heard that. You want to go to Michigan with me? Well, it's summertime though.
We love Blair.
All right, you guys.